three things that I had to learn about saving money that changed the savings game for me. Doing these three things or learning these three things helped me first save $5,000 and then $13,000 in 3 months. The first one is that I don't need to save a huge chunk of whatever money that I get. I just don't. A lot of the time when I would decide, okay, I want to start saving, I need to get my saving act together. Once I get any kind of income, let's say I get $1,000, I would just carry $500 and put into a savings account, because for me, that's like how saving should be. That's how it works. But it's not, because what will happen is I'll end up going back and dipping my hand into the account where I was saving that money, because the process that I'm using is just not sustainable. So the first mistake that we make when it comes to saving is overestimating how much we are actually capable of saving at a given period in time. You don't have to save that much. The second one is not having a proper system that empowers you to save. And here are some signs to know that you don't have a system. Number one is you only have one bank account and all of your money is managed from this one bank account. You receive money from this bank account. You spend daily from this bank account. You're going to struggle to save. Two is you only have two bank accounts, a savings and a checking account. If this is the situation, you're still in this group. You're still going to struggle to save money, because there's so many things that goes into saving money. Just having these two things, they don't work. You need a strong foundation that would allow you to save money, but also meets you where you are. So this is what I did instead. I created a checking account, a savings account, an emergency fund account. I had at least these three accounts set up for myself. If you even want to push it a little bit further, is creating something called a sinking funds account. This structure really helps with saving, because you have your normal savings account aside from your checking account where you're putting the money away for your savings. And then you have your emergency fund account, which is where you're putting aside money for when crisis comes up, things that you didn't plan for. And then finally, you have a sinking funds account, which is where you're putting money for things that you want to buy. For example, say you want to buy a cute hair, or you want to buy nails, or you want to travel for vacation, whatever that splurge looks like, a sinking funds account allows you to save towards whatever those things are. A lot of people don't have the system, and so that becomes difficult. The second system I'll mention is something I created for myself. It's called 10 10 10 70. And what this means is whatever amount of money that you get, whether it's a cash gift, income, whatever, 10% goes to your savings, 10% goes to your emergency funds account, 10% goes to your investing or your sinking funds account, and then 70% of that income is what you're leaving on. Now, understand, when I say 10%, it sounds small. People are like, girl, 10% is not going to get me anywhere when it comes to my savings. And I'm like, the whole point is to help you be sustainable when it comes to saving. It's not for you to save a huge chunk of money overnight. It's to help you save a huge chunk of money over time. It's not overnight, it's over time, to make savings a part of your everyday life. For someone like me who used to struggle with saving, I never found it sustainable to save like half of my income or half of whatever came in the bank. But if I get $1,000 and I put aside $100 in my savings account, $100 in my emergency fund, and $100 in a sinking funds account, I still have $700 to play around with and do whatever it is that I want to do. Having those different bank accounts and using this system made it so much more easier for me to start saving sustainably and eventually ramp up to save the kind of money that I wanted to save. A lot of people are still going to say, but I don't earn enough for me to like save. Like, I don't earn that kind of money. If I put aside 10 10 10, I'll have nothing left in the first place. Well, the third thing is, if you find that you are spending all of your money on your core needs, rent, food, your bills, and by the time it's done, you still have to go and dip your hands into your savings for you to survive, it means that you are an under earner. You are not earning enough. A lot of people would say, well, it's because of the government, it's because of inflation. Well, guess what? In this same government and this same inflation, people are going from $3,000 payments monthly, $2,000 payments monthly, to $10,000, to $5,000. People are graduating their income. And if people are doing that, and these are people who don't have rich parents, you can do it as well. So if you find that you are an under earner, the goal now becomes, how do I increase my income? I remember after my second business failed, I was 27 and I moved back home. I was broke, okay? I was dead broke. But I didn't let myself think, yeah, like this is the end of it for me. I'm just going to get a menial job and that's going to be it. No, I started to brainstorm how to earn money. How do I increase my income? How do I start earning? Because I needed to earn money for myself. And that's the mindset that you need to have. Those are the three things that really changed the game for me when it came to saving. The first one is I stopped overestimating how much I was able to save. So I became fine saving just 10% of whatever I had. And I lived off the other ones. Think about it this way. If I told you to save $50 out of $500, you would be more inclined to do that than if I told you to save $250 and then use the other $250 to leave and like do whatever you want to do. Like for you, it's just, this is an example. It just is not going to be sustainable or just as much fun. But knowing that I put aside $150 and I have $350 to do whatever I want to do in all these different accounts to spend on my, my feeding, my bills, hanging out with friends, all of those things, there was just some kind of freedom and joy that came from it because that money was split to do different things for me. The second is having a system, which means number one, you need to have a minimum of 3 bank accounts. And if you wanted to, you can add the fourth one, which is a sinking fund account. And an additional thing I'm going to add is automating. If you're someone who receives like a monthly paycheck, you can automate your account so that every single month, 10% of that paycheck, or every 2 weeks, 10% of that paycheck goes right into your savings. 10% goes into your sinking fund, 10% goes into your emergency fund, and whatever you have left is your money. The other system I talked about was the 10-10-10-70 method. The 10-10-10-70 method pretty much allows you to start where you are and to do it sustainably. Now, if you're someone who's paying off debt, you can be like, but I'm paying off debt currently, like, what do I do? It's the same thing. You can tweak it. You can say, okay, 10% is going to go to my savings, 10% to my emergency fund, and 10% is going to go to my debt payoff. That's your strategy. That's what you're doing, and that's totally fine. But the point is, at the end of the day, 10-10-10-70 just makes it so much easier for you to save in a sustainable manner. And then the final one is really looking at your income, right? And asking yourself, am I spending all of my money on my basics? Am I spending them on like core things I need to survive and still find that I'm struggling financially? Because again, there are people who say, oh, I don't have any savings, but when you track your expenses for 30 days, you're going to realize you are spending quite a lot on things that are not basics. Maybe it's eating out a lot, hanging out with friends, traveling, shopping, things like that. And those things are not like absolute necessities. If this is you, then this piece of advice, like something else totally applies to you. But if you find that you track your expenses, and I say track because that's exactly how you're going to know where all of your money is going. If you find that you're spending most of your money on your basics, like the main things, then you need to start thinking of how to earn more, not how to save more, because you are already, if you're doing 10-10-10-70, you're already saving, but it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be something that you can sustain because you're not earning enough to even get by for your basics. And we're going to talk about earning enough in the next video. I hope this really helped you. This changed the game for me. I really hope that is something that helps you when it comes to your financial journey as well.